Hey everyone, the purpose of this video is to understand the steps and resources needed to complete Module 4, Discovering the Buying Strategy. So this is another role play, and you will be meeting again with Aaron Atkins. Now the purpose is for the salesperson to identify the customer's needs and buying conditions. So let's take a look at the specific salesperson instructions. So the real focus here is asking questions, and we'll talk more about questions in just a moment, but we're going to ask questions to discover the specific information about Aaron's buying conditions. Basically what we're trying to do is uncover more information and understand how we can best offer our product for his needs. Now, in order to prepare for that, we need to prepare general survey questions. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But here is just a little example of the type of question you can prepare for. But again, we'll take a little more detailed look at that in Chapter 11. But really, we want to make sure that we have questions prepared. And again, we want to have an opportunity to learn more about Aaron Atkins' needs for his meeting. So in terms of the customer, Aaron, again, one of your fellow classmates or partners will be that role. And what they need to do is figure out a way to appropriately provide the buying conditions or information to the salesperson. So you can see here, we'll take a look at this buying condition. We have the need for a seminar, for a one-day physical fitness seminar. That's just one buying condition. And then if you see the slash mark, after the slash mark, it's more specific information. So the way that this information is going to be communicated is that the salesperson needs to initiate and needs to ask questions. Now, when a salesperson asks a general survey question, then they would get information such as this. So for instance, if the salesperson asks the question, can you share with me the duration of your meeting? Aaron, the customer, would provide this information. Now, in terms of getting this information, then the salesperson would have to ask a specific survey question, otherwise known as a probing question. Again, just to get more detail. So in this case, the survey question could be, has it been a challenge to find a venue for the right price? This is when the customer can respond by saying, yes, it's been a challenge because we have to fit our budget of $15,000. So that's an example of how you can use general survey and specific survey questions. Now, in terms of confirmation questions, as a salesperson, you want to ask confirmation questions after an important information has been provided. So in this case, you might ask the question, so we need to keep the price under $15,000, pardon me. And that's when the salesperson or the customer would say, yes, that's correct. Or yes, those are the things that I need to do. Or yes, I think you understand precisely what I want. So those are really important to ask those type of questions. And we'll talk a little bit about one final type of question in just a moment. So again, really make sure you read the instructions carefully for both the customer and the salesperson. Now, in regards to specific questions that we talked about, what's really important is to take a look at Chapter 11. They call it the spin selling. Okay, so there's 4 types of questions, and a little bit more in detail here. So again, those general survey questions that we provided as an example already. Probing were the sort of specific questions. Okay, so again, it's trying to figure out more specifically what type of information we're going to get from our customer. Those confirmation questions we talked about, again, just to confirm really important information. And one thing we haven't really discussed yet is the need satisfaction. So you can ask questions that might help you shift those problems into a solution and help you change that pain into some sort of pleasure for the guest. So for instance, when we were talking about the budget, you might ask So you'd be happy to have a meeting that is under your budget. That would be an example of a needs satisfaction question. So after you've read chapter 11 and you understand the value of asking certain questions, of course, you always want to take a look at the evaluation. Now, in this case, we're looking for a little more positive body language and verbal language as well. But again, we want to make sure that we're asking good survey questions. We're verifying those confirmation questions. We might be asking specific survey questions to get more detail. We want to be taking notes, and very important to make sure we're setting up a meeting, another appointment. And this is when we're going to be setting up our final presentation, a sales presentation, based on all the information that we are given today. And again, for the customer, make sure that you provide accurate information so that the salesperson can provide a great presentation for the next module. So be creative, have fun, and I look forward to seeing your meetings.